What's up you guys, Charles here and welcome back to the channel. Now the average deposit on a house in the UK is just over £32,000 and it takes the average couple 3.5 years to save up for one and the average single person 13.5 years. But if you stretch yourself you can do this in a lot shorter time, and I'm going to show you how in 7 steps. Now these are the main ways to do so, otherwise you can cut spending in a lot of other areas, but for most people these are the areas to cut down on. Now the first one is to stop partying. Recent research by a national bar showed that on average 26 to 30 year olds spend £66 on a night out, and that 40% of young drinkers do so more than once a week. So that's almost £300 a month being spent elsewhere. And if you can abstain from doing this for a year, then you're saving £3,000 or £6,000 if you're a couple. Now the second thing to do is to cancel your holiday plans, because Lloyds Bank recently came out with a survey showing that 1.4k is now the average amount that a UK person spends on holidays. So of course if you're a couple then you double that and that's £2,800, but just cutting that down then it's almost another £3,000 a year that you can put towards your housing deposit. And this is assuming you go on holidays once a year, and if it's more then of course then you do more. So Atoll has shown, and Atoll is the holiday protection scheme, that the average size family holiday is over £3,000 and that on average the family spend 17% more than what they were expecting. So for those that aren't good at maths, that's £536. Now of course holidays are a great way to relax and really important, but the thing is if you can stop doing this for 1 or 2 years then you can save a huge amount of money. Now speaking of the biggest liability you can have, which is of course a car. For those that don't know what a liability is, it's something that drains money from you. An asset is something that you put money into and it gives you more money back. But a car is the biggest liability you can get, because unless you live in the countryside it's basically a luxury, because in cities you can get transport everywhere you go. And selling your car could be another couple grand added towards your savings to deposit on your dream home. And just to show that this is true, Auto Europe have shown that if you drive an old car and do just 10,000 miles, then your lifelong cost of owning that car will be around £160,000. So that just shows you how much of a money drainer cars actually are. And you're better off not getting one unless you live in the countryside or you have other assets that cover for the liability that is your car. Now the fourth way to save up really fast for your home deposit is eBaying everything. Back in the old days, people would clear their attic and do a car boot sale in front of their house, but now that has been brought to the internet where it's a lot easier. Although eBay take a small commission of what you sell, there's a huge amount of people that buy off eBay. And depending on who you ask, and of course depending on your household, the average home has between £400 to £1,000. And of course if you live in a wealthy household or are very materialistic and buy loads of things that you might not need or only need once, then there's a lot of things you don't use that you can sell on eBay really fast and get loads of money for. And even if you don't have a lot of things to sell, then the average home has about £1,000 in it. So that's just an extra £1,000 you can put towards the deposit. Now the fifth one I would have said would be to get into the Help to Buy ISA, but unfortunately since November last year, Help to Buy ISAs aren't available anymore. But the next best thing to do is open a LISA, or Lifetime Individual Savings Account, or Lifetime ISA for short. Now I've made a video explaining all the different ISAs and how they work. But essentially the LISA allows you to get 25% on top of everything you put in up to £4,000. From £4,000 you can't put anything else in the LISA and you have to put it into other ISAs. Now the LISA has special restrictions, which means that you can only buy a home and it has to be your first home and it has to be less than £450,000 and you have to take out a mortgage with it. There are some extra conditions and I explained them all on my video about ISAs, so please go check that out if you don't understand it. But essentially they give you 25% of whatever you put in up to £4,000, so that's an extra grand if you max it out. And on top of that, inside that LISA you can invest into the stock market, which allows your portfolio to grow. So it is basically free money from the government. Now the sixth step is to rent a small flat. So if you don't want to spend the average 13.5 years to get the deposit on your first home, then you need to cut back and put restrictions upon yourself. And one of the main ways of doing this is obviously paying less for your living costs, which is very often the main cost of living in any developed country in the world. And why not do it if it's only for 2 years? 2 years in your lifetime is quite a short amount of time. So if you're a lot younger, then maybe rent with flatmates and that will save you even more money. But of course if you're, I don't know, in a couple or single and don't want to rent with flatmates, then just rent a smaller flat. For example, the difference between a studio apartment and a 1-bedroom apartment in London is 3.9k. So just by changing from one to the next, then you're saving almost £4,000, and that's an extra way of putting it towards your deposit. And of course not just a smaller flat, but also maybe a different area. From the most expensive to the least expensive place to rent on the London Central line per week is £465, and this is for places that are close to the tube station. And the final way is to improve your credit score. Now I've made loads of videos on how to improve your credit score, but one way especially to do it is to put your rent on Experian Boost. Experian is a credit broker where people that want to see your credit score have to go through, and Experian make a credit report for you, and you can check your one out for free so that you can improve it like that. But Experian Boost allows you to put your rent in every month, and if you pay it, it shows that you are sort of credit worthy, although there's way more other ways to show that you are credit worthy. But in a short space of time, then obviously logging your rent on doesn't cost you anything, and it can boost your credit score by a lot, which means that then the interest rate on your house will be less, and banks are going to be more likely to lend you money, especially for a lower deposit. But credit score is a very important one, so look into that. If you don't want to look at my videos, of course, there's loads of other videos on YouTube and articles online to go and watch, so feel free to go see those. And the final way to get a deposit on your house faster is, of course, to smash that like button. It really helps me and the channel reach more people thanks to the YouTube algorithm. And if you enjoyed the content and want to see more about how to save, invest and make more money, then smash that subscribe button too. And I answer to all the comments, so comment down below and if you've got any questions or any comments. Thanks for your time and see you next time.